Hello viewers, welcome to our channel, and we are still continuing with our financial modeling, Excel fundamentals. We are now looking at actual calculations for our financial model. So now, what we really want to do now is focus our attention on building and completing the financial model. First off, here we are going to focus our attention here on these items here. These items that are within here, they are the ones that we are going to focus on. That is the left section of the assumptions section. So we want to start doing some calculations, because what we are looking at here, those are the actuals. The actual forecast for 2021, then the actual forecast, the actual figures for 2023. And these are the actual assumptions generated from the actual figures from the income statement that we were given. So we need to put in some formulas and we'll do some calculations as we are going to see. So after getting all those values that we've highlighted for those sections that we've highlighted, those are going to help us and they are going to inform us how to project forward, because we need also to project from this point. We need also to project these values starting from 2020, these values for the forecasts. We need also to have them in place. We need also to have the values, these other values for the income statement. We need also to have that field. So it is the information that we are going to get from this point. Let's first highlight the information that we are going to get from those points is the same information that is going to help us generate the assumptions here for the forecasts. So let's get started and find what we can do for these different parts. But you have also to be knowing where we are heading. What we are trying to look at for now, we are trying to get some assumptions, the actual assumptions. Then we get the forecasts. We project the future assumptions. And those future assumptions, they are the ones that are going to help us project the future values of our income statement. So that's where we are heading, and that's the route we are taking. So hope we can now know what we are doing. So let's start off right here by calculating the revenue growth. We want to look at this point, getting the revenue growth. We can't get the revenue growth for 2021, for 2022, because we don't have values for 20. Remember, we are getting these values from our income statement. So there is no way we are going to get the ones for 2022 because we don't have values for 2021. That's why you are seeing this one is a blank item. We are only going to have that for 2023. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to do a percentage change. We used to do this percentage change for our math. Whatever kind of math you did, we did percentage change. You know the formulas. We used to say new minus old over old. Others used to call it new over old minus 1, which is the same thing. But the general form, the known form, it gives you the same answers. We shall try those two things, then we see what we can actually have. So we need now to calculate the revenue growth for 2023. And we want we are going to take the revenue in the new year here. Let's first put in the equal sign there. And we come down here. We are going to take the revenue for new year. New year is this one. We divide that. We are going to divide that by the revenue of the previous year. We divide by the revenue of the previous year, which is 2022. And the answer we get -1. Then we can press enter. It has given us 0.1. Let's now try and have, let's try and we have the other formula of, let's do undo Control Z. We put in an equal sign. It's going to be equal sign new, which is our new year is 2023. This figure 165 minus, let's put in a bracket here because we are going to divide at the end of the day. Let's put in a bracket. So it is that, then minus the previous or the old year, which is 2022, which is 150,000. We close the bracket. Then we divide the result by the old, which is this. The old is the previous year, which is 150. So with that, we don't less 1. We just hit enter. We will also get the same answer, 0.1. It is new minus old over old. Or you can get the new over old minus 1. Whichever is convenient for you, you can use that. So that's it for now. And it has helped us to get the revenue growth for that. So we can now go to computing these other values. Next up here, notice the labeling for sure. The labeling here says cost of goods sold as a percentage of revenue. So you have to be careful there. It's as a percentage of revenue. So what we are going to say, let's put here an equal sign. Equal sign. But now, let's first see something. The cost of goods sold, here it is a negative value here. But here I want to take it as a positive. We don't want those negatives there because these are just, we are just taking assumptions. We only put those assumptions, that negative sign to show that it is a negative, it is unfavorable line item. So we have to put a negative sign there. Equal sign minus or negative. Since we have a negative number down to the cost of goods sold, this one is a negative. So we pick this value, this negative. And it is a percentage of what? It is a percentage of revenue. So we are going to get the cost of goods sold divided by the revenue. This one divide by this. Press enter. We are now seeing we have 0.45. The question is, if you get this value, 0.45 times the revenue, do you get this one? Because that's what you should do. You should prove. Come here and put in an equal sign this times the revenue, because it is a percentage of revenue. When you hit the enter key, it's going to give you the same value, which is 67,500,000. So it means we have done, we've got it right. So you need also to do some proofing to find, you don't just have to get these answers and you don't find a way how, because they told you cost of goods sold is as a percentage of revenue. So that percentage you get should be in proportion to the cost of goods sold. So let's now go to the other one. Maybe we feel right. Maybe we can try to feel right here. Shift right arrow to highlight, then Control arrow to feel right, to have that even there. Then we go to SG&A, but SG&A, now let's see. The SG&A, they have not told us anything. So we can maybe try to skip that a little bit, and we'll go to depreciation, because they told us depreciation is as a percentage of revenue. From here, depreciation as a percentage of revenue. So let's first compute that. We can try maybe to complete this for the depreciation. But now, before we complete that, there is something I want you to learn. We shall do this because I want to give you the other pro tip without us wasting time doing everything from this point. All of it, will do it. No, it will be consuming our time. We need to do some copy and paste. I just need to show you how it is, but we are not going to do the copy and paste. I will show you how it's done, and the result will be the same as when we come and do our normal way, because this is, we are learning from the first principles. So now what we can do for these numbers, for the first of these numbers we've computed, what we need to first have these numbers in percentages, because they told us they are in percentage. So we need to have these numbers in percentage. We need to have those numbers in percentage. So now, remember we said for you to put these numbers in percentage format, we go to format cells, but we have a keyboard shortcut that can help us put in that percentage, and it is very easy for you to memorize. It is Control-Shift-5. It will be very easy for you to actually memorize or remember, because if you notice on that tab for 5, that key which has that 5, you will see that there is a symbol for percentage. So it means that's where we can also get access for the percentage symbol as well. So we go to Control-Shift-5 after highlighting those values. Now you can see that we've put in the percentages. It is really very fast for us to do that. Now, what we want to do, we want to add one more place after the decimal place. Maybe we can add some 2 decimal places after. We just add 1 because it is a percentage. Let's just add only 1 decimal place. Remember, we customize our quick access toolbar, so we can just go to our quick access toolbar to increase decimal. And for you to increase decimal, it is Alt 1 to increase decimal. It has increased by 1. You can also do the same, Alt 1 to increase it to the second one, and you have 2 decimal places, but we only need 1, so you press Alt 2 to reduce to that one that we need. So we've increased the decimal, so Alt 1 gets that all done really fast. Now, what we want to have, we want to have the same format to all these other values that we have. So what are we going to do? Let's just do a copy right up there. Control P, Control C for a copy. And now we can now go down to 2 lines. The first line, because we need also to have the values for SG&A. SG&A, those are just selling and distribution, or selling, distribution, and administration costs. So don't get confused with those. So let's jump only 1. We go down to maybe to this one, the depreciation, because it's also a percentage. we need to have the depreciation as a percentage. Even the tax rate has to be a percentage. So what we can do from here, we can come and paste, because we want the same formatting. We don't want to have some of those things, like we have so many things there. Depreciation is as a percentage of revenue. Now, we have got our formats, we've copied them. But we need also those same formats for our depreciation. We can come and paste them here. Let me first highlight. We can paste this here, Control V. I'll put in other places. Let's do Control Z. Do Control V there. We can just leave it that. I know those are not the answers, but we need to actually, we need to change the formatting of the, we need to change the formatting of these values. I've copied many. So let's do Control Z. Let's just copy only one here. Control P. Then we paste here. Control V. So we put in those percentages. I had copied many, yet I wanted only paste in one place. But now we need to change the formula for this. Remember, this is going to be depreciation as a percentage of what? As a percentage of revenue. So we come here and pick the depreciation. We can remove this. Let's undo some of these things, because they are going to disturb us a bit. If we just change, these are our values, then we come to put in depreciation. We have also the negative value there already. Then we can come and divide by this one. We remove it. Is F17, which is the revenue. Then we hit the enter. If you know what you're doing, you can actually get it right. So that's how we did it. But let's undo for a while, and we try to, it will give us the same answer, but I want you to understand. I was just bringing the same formatting, but let's undo the copying, the pasting all these values here. We just do it plain, with plain. We shall make the adjustments later. So we put in equal sign negative, because our depreciation is in bracket, is a minus figure. So we divide that by our revenue, because it is as a percentage. Then we do a fill right. We shift to your right arrow, then Control R to fill right. Those values, they are not in percentage. So we can also come and do the tax rate. But now what you need to know is that taxes, they are always as a percentage of EBIT, earnings before tax. So it will be equal sign negative. We put a negative. Then we take out our taxes, divide by EBIT. So we've seen it is 0.3. Shift right arrow, then Control R for a fill right. But remember, these values, we need also them to be in percentages. That's why I was copying all these values and I paste them here, so that we can have these values in percentages. But we saw it was giving us the same answers. But let's do some of these things separately. Control Shift 5. Then we have Alt. The Alt one is increasing the decimal. So we have increased the decimal. That's what we wanted to achieve in the first place. That's why I was copying the other formatting and I pasted them there. So when I pasted them there, we had to do some adjustment within the formulas, which was going to be a little bit confusing. That's why I deleted it. And we did it again in the right way. So we've gotten those values. What we haven't gotten is our interest, and then our SG&A, selling, distribution, and administration. So now we have these values. These ones are going to be nominal values. They are not going to be in percentages. That's why we didn't copy all of it. These are going to be nominal values. Those two, the SG&A, then the interest, we want them to be nominal amounts, not percentages. So now what we have to do is we have to go ahead and grab those values that we have down there in our income statement, and we bring them up. But now what we are going to do, let's try to grab these values, SG&A. Let's highlight them. Do a copy, Ctrl+C, we paste them up there. Remember, we already went through, we do even this, grab also these values for interest. We went through doing some of these formattings. We did them. Something small that we are going to change. So we've copied like the way they are, but we need also to leave them in black. We don't need to, because these are computations, they are supposed to be in black. And they are supposed to be in formulas. That's why we don't want those values to be like they are hard-coded numbers, or we just inserted them in as inputs. So that's why we are copying them and pasting them there. So now what we want to do here, want to change their color, to change the font color for these values to black. I want them to be black. But remember, these values are not going to change because we put in these brackets. So the only way they are going to change is by changing, because we don't need them to be black. So if you try to because we need to put in an equal sign in here so that we can make sure that these values are not, they are actually positives. You can just put in a negative just to make these values positive figures. If you had copied the same way I had copied them with those brackets, you can come and change them from here, the font colors. We also have another option where you can actually try to change, because what we've just done, we've just removed the negatives, but these figures are not linked. The other option would be maybe we first remove these values. Let's first remove these values. It would be for you to put in an equal sign, and you just move with the down arrow to pick this value for SG&A. But remember, it's a negative, so we put also a negative value here. We press enter. Then we can do a fill right. Then even for interest, we can just come and put in a negative. Then we pick the interest from down here. Then we do a fill right. That's the other option. So we wanted those values to be black, and they are supposed to be connected by formulas. And we know anything that starts with an equal sign, it is a formula in Excel. So we've connected those values for the SG&A and the interest, and they are all in formulas. Now, it looks like we actually finished what we are doing with the first set of the assumptions. It looks like we are done, but now we also need to maybe change some formatting there. We can also try to put in some formattings. So the other formats is you can maybe try a little bit, maybe to change some of these to be bold, if at all you want them to stand out and they look different from the forecasts. Those are some of the things that you can actually add from that point. But at least what we have done, we have fixed some of the issues that we wanted to look at when you are building up these things. So let's now head over to the next video and we see how we are going to discuss on how to take these calculations and start to project forward, because we've done the computations and we've filled in everything, but we want also to start projecting. We look at the other 5 years from 2024 to 2028. We want to start projecting those values basing on some of the assumptions that we have, so that we can have the future assumptions that we can use to compute the future values or the future estimates in our income statement. And those are the things that we are going to look at in the next video. And it's going to be estimate assumptions. In other words, estimating these assumptions from here. These are the things that we are going to be looking at, estimating those assumptions from that point to the other point. Because the results that we are going to get from this point, they are the ones that are going to feed into these areas you can see. They are the ones that are going to feed into this area. So we'll see you in the next video.